Hello, everybody. John Paul here with JP's Magic Corner. So, Wizards just dropped their June 1st ban and restricted announcement. So, let's get right into it and see what we got here. Don't forget to leave a like and a follow, and we'll get right into it. So, new companion rule. Once per game, anytime you could cast a sorcery during your main phase when the stack is empty, you can pay 3 generic mana to put your companion from your sideboard into your hand. This is a special action, not an activated ability. Okay. Standard. Agent of Treachery is banned. Fires of Invention is banned. Historic. Agent of Treachery is suspended. Fires of Invention is suspended. Tabletop effective date June 1st. MTG Arena. All this takes effect on June 4th. That is Thursday. That's normally when they do their update. Magic Online. Banner restricted June 1st. Magic Online companion rules June 1st. Let's go into the article real quick. Companion rules change. While Magic rule changes aren't normally a part of the ban and restricted list updates, in this case we're introducing a change to the companion mechanic that is motivated by game balance and metagame share across play environments. Effective with this update, the companion mechanic and all cards featuring it will now work differently from before. The new version of the mechanic will work as follows. Once per game, anytime you can cast a sorcery during your main phase when the stack is empty, you can pay 3 generic mana to put your companion from your sideboard into your hand. This is a special action, not an activated ability. It happens immediately and can't be responded to. It can't be countered or stopped by cards like Phyrexian Revoker. A reason for making this change is based on metagame data and play rates of companion decks across all formats, and on player feedback on repetitive gameplay patterns. As a group, decks using companions have too high of win rates and metagame share in Standard, Pioneer, and Modern, and have already necessitated bans in Legacy and Vintage. This trend represents a long-term problem for the health and diversity of all formats. Rather than go down the path of making several individual adjustments to the ban list for each format, we feel the better solution is to reduce the advantage gained from using a companion across the board. The result we intend is to reduce the metagame share of companion decks while still capturing the spirit of the mechanic's design and still having companions be worth building around in many cases. We expect that this new version of the companion mechanic will result in deck building challenge and means of self-expression that some players can opt into, rather than being a huge part of the competitive metagame. We discussed several alternative rules changes, but ultimately settled on this one, as it best mitigates the potential for repetitive gameplay and provides a wider window of interaction. By charging additional mana, playing a companion becomes less effective relative to playing the other cards the player has drawn. In this way, players are more likely to cast their other spells before their companion, resulting in more divergent game paths. Next, the additional mana will often slow the companion down by a turn, allowing the opponent to interact with it while in the companion player's hand, or otherwise giving the opponent an additional turn to plan ahead before the companion hits the battlefield. It's rare that we use rules changes to address metagame balance, but this isn't something we have plans to do in the future. In this case, the issue wasn't with one individual card, but rather the companions as a group. We believe this solution is preferable to potentially needing to make multiple bans across different formats over time. Standard. Over the course of the last several weeks, Fires of Invention decks have risen to have a dominant win rate and metagame presence in Standard, achieving a 55% win rate and having even a favorable matchups against each of the other top 10 archetypes. This indicates that metagame forces alone aren't sufficient enough to keep the deck in check. In addition, as we craft and test future environments, we found the card Fires of Invention to be a significant design and balance constraint. Because of the flexible nature of the cost reduction effect, Fires of Invention decks would continue to gain power as new high mana cost spells are added to the environment. As new sets have been released, we've seen win rates of Fires of Invention decks increase compared to past standard metagame environments. Because of the Fire of Invention deck's current high win rate and metagame share and the risks and design constraints it poses to the environment going forward, Fires of Invention is banned in Standard. Next, recently we've seen a rise in archetypes that use either Luca, Coppercoat, Outcast, or Winota Joiner of Forces to put Agent of Treachery directly into play. While part of this design intent of these cards was to provide creative ways to deploy powerful high mana cost creatures, we observed that using them to play an early Agent of Treachery can be uniquely frustrating to play against and difficult to come back. The effect of stealing any lands or key cards when at high play rate reduces diversity in the metagame. Decks built around unique permanents or big creatures have less chances to succeed when opponents can steal their key cards without specific deck building intent. Therefore, in order to allow a more comeback potential against Luca and Winota decks, and to promote deck building diversity in Standard, Agent of Treachery is banned. Let's not really go into Historic, doesn't really make much. Let's go into Pact Coalition real quick. We will be adjusting the Throne of Eldraine in Core Set 2020. Pact Coalition changed the rate in which Fires of Invention and Agent of Treachery appear in booster packs. After the June 4th game updates, players will only receive copies of these cards if they have collected playsets of every other standard legal rare available in the respective boosters. These changes will not impact the collation of cards in limited boosters used in Throne of Eldraine or Core 2020 drafts. You can still draft them, it means. There are no changes to Pact Coalition as part of the companion rule change. Let's see. So you won't be able to get them in Historic individual card rewards. Okay. Play queues. These card bans and suspensions will immediately go into effect for all standard Historic play queues once maintenance on June 4th is complete. And real quick, as part of their in-game collection on MTG Arena, will receive an equal number of rare wildcards. Let's see, yeah, so you're just going to get your wildcards back. Players will not be receiving wildcards as a result of the companion rule change. So Fires Invention got banned, Agent of Treachery got banned. That is no news. The smart money was they were going to go no matter what. Let's see. Would I have liked them to attack more of the mana ramp going on? Yes, I would have liked Reclamation to also get hit, but Reclamation is about to move out. So you gotta keep in mind, Agent was going to rotate out in October, right? So really they're getting rid of it so they don't have to ban Luca or Winota, the two main abusers of it right now, cheating into play very early on turn 3 or 4. So it's not a big deal that they banned something that was about to rotate out in 5 months, and they get to keep the two mythics from the set they just put out, stays in, and are more less abusive, or less oppressive, I should say. And then Fires of Invention, it was going to be around until October 2021. It was causing a lot of chaos. It had to go. Interesting, the companion rule change. Once per game, anytime you can cast a sorcery, you can pay 3 generic mana to add it from your sideboard into your hand. So this changes a lot, because it means every companion played from the sideboard costs 3 more mana. This makes a lot of them kind of unusable. So like, look at Garuda, one of the cards I thought would benefit the most from the change, from the hypothetical change people were talking about. You now would never use Garuda as your companion. If you were going to go that strategy, you would put it in the main deck and just hope you draw it and go from there. Because getting to 9 mana as fast as possible to play it really hinders it. So you get into these weird situations where you pay the 3 mana to add it, and then you can cast it. So you can kind of break it up, so it's not like you have to have all 6 mana to play Lurrus immediately. But if you feels like more mid-range and longer control aspects, paying the extra 3 mana isn't that big of a deal. I do think all the decks that are currently using companions would immediately stop. Does this really affect Yorion? So like, the biggest deal is you're now doing this deck restriction, right? To be able to access the card later for 3 mana more. And I feel like a lot of decks would rather just run 4 copies of the companion main board rather than to have one you can access, but it costs 3 mana to access it, and then you still have to cast it. So for Yorion, for example, is adding 20 other cards so later in the game you can... Because being able to reliably cast Yorion like turn 6 was like kind of the point, and now you don't get to do that. You have to break up 3 somewhere. I guess it really comes down to what decks can fit weave the 3 mana in on turn 3 or 4 to set up their 5 or 6. it definitely slows the companion game down instead of just making it an extra card. It's an extra card, but you have to pay 3 more mana for that card. And I think the current 10 companions, I'm not really sure if any of them are extremely worth it. We're still going to have companions, but I'm not sure. It's definitely a change I didn't see coming. I didn't really see anybody talk about this one. So very interesting to see how that plays out. Yep. Overall, Teferi Time Raveler survives again. A card that people really thought should have been banned 13 months ago. Looks like it's going to be able to stick around for its full life cycle and be around in 18 months in Standard. Well, so thanks for coming by the corner. Don't forget to leave a comment, and everybody be safe out there. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.